The screaming started at 3 in the morning. Michael Hale jumped out of bed, so fast he almost fell. His heart hammered in his chest like a drum. Down the hall, his 3 little girls were crying. Not the normal kind of crying, but the scared, terrified kind that makes your blood turn cold. He ran. His bare feet slapped against the marble floor. When he burst through their bedroom door, all 3 triplets were sitting up in their beds, hands stretched out in front of them, tears streaming down their faces. "Daddy!" 7-year-old Emma screamed. I can't see anything." "Me neither," Sophie cried, her small hands covering her eyes. "Everything's dark." Lily, the quietest of the 3, was shaking. "Daddy, where you? I hear you, but I can't find you." Michael's legs nearly gave out. He rushed to Emma first, gently pulling her hands away from her face. Her eyes were open. They looked normal. But when he waved his hand in front of her face, she didn't blink. She didn't move. She couldn't see him. His hands trembled as he checked Sophie, then Lily. The same thing. All 3 of his beautiful daughters, blind. "It's okay, babies," he whispered, though his voice cracked. "Daddy's here. We're going to fix this." But inside, fear clawed at his throat like a wild animal. The hospital waiting room smelled like cleaning chemicals and fear. Michael sat with his head in his hands. Around him, nurses walked past. Machines beeped. Someone coughed. But all he could hear was his daughters crying in the examination room down the hall. He was a billionaire. He owned hotels, restaurants, and buildings that touched the sky. People called him one of the most powerful men in the city. But right now, all that money felt like nothing, like dust in his hands. The door opened. Dr. Raymondson walked out, his face serious and gray. "Mr. Hale," the doctor said quietly, "we need to talk." Michael stood up so fast his chair scraped the floor. "What's wrong with them? Can you fix it?" Dr. Chin looked at the floor. That's when Michael knew. Doctors only look at the floor when the news is bad. "We've run every test we have," Dr. Chin said slowly. "MRI, CT scans, blood work, everything. The results show severe optic nerve damage in all 3 girls." "What does that mean?" Michael's voice came out as a whisper. "It means the nerves that carry signals from their eyes to their brains are damaged. Permanently." Dr. Chin finally looked up. "I'm sorry, Mr. Hale. Your daughters are blind, and there's nothing we can do." The world tilted. Michael grabbed the wall to steady himself. "Nothing," he repeated. "I have money, lots of money. I can pay for anything, any treatment, any surgery, any doctor in the world." Dr. Chin shook his head. "Some things money can't buy. Some damage can't be undone. I'm truly sorry." Michael felt like he was drowning. "Give me another opinion. Give me 10 more opinions." Over the next 3 weeks, Michael did exactly that. He flew in specialists from London, Tokyo, and New York. He paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. Each doctor examined the girls. Each doctor looked at the scans. And each doctor said the same terrible words. "Permanent optic nerve damage. Nothing can be done. I'm sorry." Michael stopped sleeping. He stopped eating. His beautiful girls, who used to run and laugh and play, now sat quietly in their rooms, afraid to move, afraid to fall, trapped in darkness. He would give everything he owned, every dollar, every building, every possession, just to see them smile again. It was a freezing December night when Michael's driver took a wrong turn. The car ended up in the old part of the city, where broken streetlights flickered and trash blew across empty sidewalks. Michael barely noticed. He stared out the window, seeing nothing. "Sir, there's a roadblock ahead," the driver said. "I'll need to take another route." As the car turned around, Michael saw her. An old woman sat on the sidewalk, wrapped in dirty blankets. A cardboard sign leaned against her knee. "Former doctor. Will help for food." Something made Michael tell the driver to stop. He didn't know why. Maybe he was going crazy. Maybe grief had broken his mind. But he got out of the car and walked toward the woman. She looked up. Her face was weathered and wrinkled, but her eyes were sharp and clear, intelligent, alive. "You look like a man carrying the weight of the world," she said. Her voice was rough but kind. "My daughters," Michael heard himself say. "They're blind. The doctors say there's no hope." The woman studied him for a long moment. "How old are they?" "7. "When did it happen?" 3 weeks ago." Suddenly, in the middle of the night, the woman's eyes narrowed. Something changed in her expression. Did their eyes look cloudy? "Like milk." Michael's heart skipped. Yes. "How did you?" The woman stood up faster than someone her age should move. The blankets fell away. "Take me to them. Now." "Who are you?" "My name is Elena Vance," she said, "and I think your doctors are wrong." 20 minutes later, Elena stood in the triplets' bedroom. Michael watched as she gently examined each girl, shining a small flashlight into their eyes. The girls stayed quiet, confused by this stranger who smelled like the streets but spoke with gentle confidence. Elena spent a long time looking. Her hands were steady. Her face was focused. Finally, she stepped back. "Mr. Hale," she said quietly, "your daughters aren't blind." Michael's breath caught. "What?" "They have congenital cataracts. The lenses in their eyes are clouded. That's what's blocking their vision." Elena's voice grew stronger, almost angry. "This is completely treatable. Completely fixable with surgery." "But the doctors," all of them said. The doctors were afraid. Elena interrupted. "You're a billionaire, a public figure. Operating on your children is risky. If something goes wrong, careers end. Reputations crumble. Lawsuits destroy hospitals." She looked directly at him. "So they lied. They called it nerve damage because nerve damage can't be fixed. It protects them. It means they don't have to take the risk." Michael felt rage boil in his chest. They let my daughters suffer? They let them live in darkness? To protect themselves? "Yes." Elena's voice was ice. Michael's hands clenched into fists. But then he looked at this strange woman, this beggar in his home. "Why should I trust you?" he asked. "You're homeless. You have no credentials here. For all I know, I was the head of pediatric ophthalmology at Grace Memorial Hospital for 15 years. Elena said quietly, "I saved over 3,000 children's sight. Then my daughter died in a car accident. I fell apart, started drinking, lost my license, lost everything." She met his eyes. "But I didn't lose my knowledge. I didn't lose my ability to see the truth." She pointed at the triplets. "Your daughters can see again, but only if you're brave enough to fight the people who failed them." Michael looked at his girls. Emma, Sophie, and Lily sat on their beds, holding hands, listening to voices they couldn't match to faces. He thought about the doctors with their expensive suits and fancy degrees. Then he thought about this broken woman who stopped to help when no one else would. And he made his choice. "Tell me what we need to do." Michael stormed into Grace Memorial Hospital like a hurricane. His lawyer walked beside him. His security team followed. And behind them all, wrapped in a new coat Michael had bought her, walked Elena Vance. The receptionist's eyes went wide. "Mr. Hale, we weren't expecting. Get Dr. Chun. Get the hospital director. Get everyone who examined my daughters." Michael's voice was sharp as broken glass. "Now." 10 minutes later, they sat in a conference room. Dr. Chin was there. So was Dr. Patricia Mills, who had flown in from New York, Dr. James Foster from London, and Dr. Sarah Kim, the hospital director, who kept glancing nervously at Elena. "Do you know who this woman is?" Dr. Kim asked, pointing at Elena. "I know exactly who she is," Michael said coldly. "She's the person who told me the truth, which is more than any of you did." Dr. Chin shifted uncomfortably. "Mr. Hale, I don't know what this homeless person told you, but our diagnosis was thorough and—" "Liar." The word hung in the air like thunder. Elena stood up slowly. She walked to the front of the room and turned on the projector. On the screen appeared images of the triplets' eyes, the same scans Michael had seen weeks ago. "Look here," Elena said, pointing to the images. Her voice was calm but powerful. "See this cloudiness in the lens area? This white reflection? That's not optic nerve damage. That's congenital cataracts." Dr. Mills leaned forward. squinting at the screen. Her face went pale. The pupillary light reflex is still present in all three girls, Elena continued. That means the optic nerves are functioning. The problem is simply that light can't get through the clouded lenses. She turned to face the doctors. This is basic ophthalmology. First-year medical students could diagnose this. Silence filled the room. Then why? Michael's voice shook with rage. Why did all of you say it was permanent nerve damage? Dr. Chin looked down. Dr. Foster suddenly found his phone very interesting. Dr. Mills opened her mouth, then closed it. It was Dr. Kim who finally spoke. Mr. Hale, she said carefully, cataract surgery on children is extremely delicate. There are risks, infection, complications, surgical errors. And you're a very public figure. If anything went wrong, you'd be sued, Michael finished, his voice deadly quiet. So instead of taking that risk, you decided to tell me my daughters would be blind forever. You chose to protect your careers over my children's sight. That's not what we didn't mean, Dr. Kim stammered. Yes, you did. Elena's voice cut through the excuses. I've seen it happen before. Wealthy families are dangerous patients. If treatment succeeds, you did your job. If it fails, you lose everything. So doctors play it safe. They declare things untreatable. They hide behind permanent damage, and nothing can be done. Her eyes blazed, and children suffer for it. Dr. Mills suddenly stood up. Her hands were shaking. She's right, she whispered. God help me. She's right. I saw the cataracts. I knew they could be treated. But I was afraid. I was afraid. Tears ran down her face. I have student loans, she continued. I have a mortgage. One lawsuit, one failure, and I lose it all. So I told myself maybe it really was nerve damage. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe. She looked at Michael. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Michael wanted to scream. He wanted to flip the table. He wanted to destroy them all. But his daughters needed him to stay focused. Can the surgery still be done? He asked Elena. Yes, Elena said. But it needs to be done soon. The longer they stay blind, the harder it will be for their brains to process vision later. We're already 3 weeks in. We can't wait much longer. Dr. Kim cleared her throat. Dr. Vance, you don't have a medical license anymore. You can't perform the surgery yourself. I know that, Elena said quietly. But I can guide someone who can. Someone brave enough to do the right thing. All eyes turned to Dr. Mills. She was still crying, but she looked up. I'll do it, she said. I'll perform the surgery. With Dr. Vance's guidance. She wiped her eyes. It's time I stopped being afraid. That night, Elena sat in the guest room of Michael's mansion. It felt strange being in a real bed again. Strange having walls around her. Strange not being cold. There was a soft knock on the door. Come in, Elena said. Michael entered, carrying 2 cups of coffee. He handed her one and sat down in the chair by the window. Thank you, he said simply. Don't thank me yet, Elena replied. The surgery hasn't happened. Things could still go wrong. Why did you help us? Michael asked. You could have just walked past my car that night. You didn't have to get involved. Elena stared into her coffee for a long moment. My daughter's name was Lily, she said softly. Same as one of your girls. Michael went very still. She was 8 when the accident happened, Elena continued. A drunk driver ran a red light. My husband died instantly. Lily held on for 3 days in the hospital. Her voice cracked. I was supposed to be the best pediatric eye surgeon in the country. I saved thousands of children. But I couldn't save my own daughter. I'm sorry, Michael whispered. After the funeral, I fell apart, Elena said. Started drinking. Stopped going to work. The hospital gave me time off, but I never went back. Lost my license for showing up drunk to a surgery consultation. Lost my house. Lost everything. She looked up at him. I spent 2 years on the streets, wishing I had died instead of them. What changed? Michael asked. Nothing changed, Elena said. I'm still broken. I still miss them every second of every day. But when I saw you that night, when you told me about 3 little girls who suddenly couldn't see." She paused. I couldn't walk away. My Lily would have wanted me to help. She was always helping people. Birds with broken wings, kids getting bullied at school, anyone who needed her. Tears rolled down Elena's weathered face. I can't bring my daughter back. I can't undo the past. But maybe I can give your daughters their sight. Maybe I can do one more good thing in her name. Michael felt his own eyes burning. This broken woman, this beggar he almost ignored, was trying to honor her dead daughter by saving his living ones. "Will you stay?" he asked. "After the surgery? Will you stay with us?" Elena smiled sadly. "Let's get through the surgery first." The next morning, Michael made phone calls. He called lawyers. He called medical board members. He called news reporters. He called every person who owed him a favor. "I want cameras in that operating room," he told them. "I want documentation of everything. If these doctors try to cover this up, how many other families did they fail? How many other children are living in darkness because doctors were afraid?" Within hours, the story exploded. News vans surrounded Grace Memorial Hospital. Headlines screamed, "Billionaire's daughters declared permanently blind, but were they?" And former surgeon claims hospital cover-up. The medical board launched an investigation. Other families started coming forward. Parents who had been told their children's conditions were untreatable, only to find out later that doctors had been too afraid to try. The hospital had no choice. They had to let the surgery happen. The whole world was watching. Dr. Mills prepared for the operation. Elena sat with her for hours, going over every detail, every possible complication, every movement of the scalpel. "You can do this," Elena told her. "I've seen your record. You're a brilliant surgeon. You just forgot to be brave." "I'm terrified," Dr. Mills admitted. "Good," Elena said. "Fear makes you careful. Just don't let it make you a coward." The surgery was scheduled for 3 days later. Michael spent those days with his daughters. He read them stories. He held their hands. He told them over and over that they were going to be okay. But at night, alone in his room, he prayed to a God he wasn't sure he believed in. "Please," he whispered into the darkness, "please let this work." The night before the surgery, Emma asked a question. "Daddy, if we can see again, will that lady still be here? The one with the kind voice?" Michael's throat tightened. "You mean Dr. Vance? Is that her name?" Emma asked. "She smells like outside and rain, but she sounds like hugs." Michael had to leave the room before his daughters heard him cry. Elena Vance, the homeless woman the world forgot, had become a hero to 3 little girls who couldn't even see her face. Tomorrow, if everything went right, they finally would. Tomorrow, in an operating room filled with cameras and prayers, 3 lives would change forever. Tomorrow, the bandages would come off, and the world would learn that sometimes the people who save you don't wear white coats or have fancy titles. Sometimes they sit on cold sidewalks, wrapped in dirty blankets, waiting for one more chance to do good. The operating room was silent except for the beeping of machines. Michael stood behind a glass window, his hands pressed against it, so hard his knuckles turned white. Inside, Emma lay on the operating table, tiny and fragile under the bright lights. Dr. Mills stood ready, her hands steady now. Beside her, Elena watched every movement like a hawk. Beginning first incision, Dr. Mills said quietly. Michael held his breath. The surgery took 3 hours. 3 hours that felt like 3 years. Every beep of the machines made Michael's heart jump. Every murmur from the doctors made him want to break through the glass. But Elena's voice came through the speakers, calm and sure. "Perfect. Good. Now rotate 0.5 degrees. Excellent." Finally, Dr. Mills stepped back. Clouded lens removed. Artificial lens implanted. Emma's surgery is complete. Michael's legs nearly gave out. 1 down. 2 to go. Sophie's surgery was next. Then Lily's. By the time all 3 girls were done, the sun was setting. Michael hadn't eaten, hadn't sat down, hadn't looked away from that window for even a second. All 3 surgeries successful, Dr. Mills announced, exhaustion in her voice. No complications. Now we wait for the healing. The girls were moved to a recovery room. Thick bandages covered their eyes. They would have to stay on for 1 week while the healing happened. 1 week of waiting. 1 week of hoping. 1 week of praying this wasn't all a cruel dream. Michael barely left the hospital. He slept in a chair next to the triplets' beds. Elena stayed too, checking on the girls every few hours, making sure everything was healing correctly. On the 3rd day, Lily said something that made everyone freeze. "I see colors," she whispered. "What?" Michael jumped up. "Behind my bandages," Lily said, her voice full of wonder. "When I move my head toward the window, everything gets orange and warm. When I turn away, it gets dark and cool. I see colors." Elena smiled. Her eyes are working. The light is getting through. By day 5, all 3 girls were reporting the same thing. They could sense light and shadow through their bandages. They could tell when someone walked past their beds. They could tell when the sun came out from behind clouds. "Does this mean it worked?" Emma asked excitedly. "Will we really see?" "We'll find out in 2 more days," Elena said gently. "But yes, sweetheart, I think you will." Those last 2 days were the longest of Michael's life. The morning finally came. The hospital room was packed. Michael was there, of course. Dr. Mills stood ready. Elena sat on a chair in the corner, her weathered hands clasped together. News cameras had been set up. This moment would be shown to the world. The triplets sat on their beds, holding hands, their bandaged faces turned toward the sounds of people moving around them. "Are you girls ready?" Dr. Mills asked softly. "Yes," all 3 said together. "Remember," Elena said, "the room will be very bright at first. Everything will be blurry and strange. Your brains haven't processed vision in weeks, so it will take a moment for everything to make sense. Don't be scared." "We're not scared," Sophie said. "We're excited." Dr. Mills started with Emma. Slowly, carefully, she unwrapped the bandages. Layer after layer fell away. Then the last piece came off. Emma's eyes were closed. "Open your eyes, sweetheart," Michael whispered, tears already streaming down his face. Emma's eyelids fluttered, then opened. For a moment, she didn't move. She just stared straight ahead, her eyes wide. Then she blinked. "Daddy," she whispered. "Daddy, is that you?" "Yes, baby," Michael sobbed. "It's me. I can see you." Emma screamed. "I can see you." She burst into tears of joy. Michael grabbed her, holding her tight while she cried and laughed at the same time. "Your face," Emma said, touching his cheeks. "You have a face. And tears. And you look just like your voice sounds." Sophie's bandages came off next. Then Lily's. All 3 girls could see. They looked at each other and screamed with happiness. "You look just like me." Sophie yelled at Emma. "We're all the same." Lily laughed. They touched each other's faces, examining every detail they had been missing. They looked at the walls, the ceiling, the windows. Everything was new. Everything was miraculous. Then Emma turned her head. She saw Elena sitting quietly in the corner. "That's her," Emma said. "That's the lady with the kind voice." All 3 girls turned to look at Elena. Elena stood up slowly, tears running down her weathered, wrinkled face. The triplets scrambled off their beds and ran to her. They wrapped their small arms around her waist, hugging her tight. "You smell like rain and hugs," Emma said, "just like I thought." "Thank you for making us see," Sophie whispered. "I love you," Lily said simply. Elena broke down. She dropped to her knees and held all 3 girls, sobbing like her heart was breaking and healing at the same time. Michael watched this moment, his daughter seen for the first time, embracing the homeless woman who saved them. And he understood something important. Heroes don't always look like heroes. Sometimes they're broken. Sometimes they're forgotten. Sometimes they sit on cold sidewalks wrapped in dirty blankets, carrying pain the world can't see. But they're still heroes. 3 months later, Grace Memorial Hospital looked different. Dr. Kim had been replaced. Dr. Chun and Dr. Foster had resigned. New policies were in place. No more hiding behind untreatable diagnoses. No more protecting reputations over patients. 37 families had come forward since the Triplets story broke. 37 children who had been declared beyond help were now getting the treatments they needed. Dr. Mills became the new head of pediatric ophthalmology. Her first act was creating a program for high-risk surgeries, procedures doctors were afraid to attempt. "We're here to help children," she told the staff, "not to protect ourselves." And Elena? Elena moved into the guest house on Michael's property. He offered her a mansion, but she wanted something smaller, something cozy. She got her medical license back after a long legal battle. Now she consults on difficult cases, teaching young doctors to be brave. But her favorite time is every evening, when 3 little girls burst into her cottage, full of stories about the colors they saw, the birds they watched, the rainbows and the sprinklers. "Tell us about your Lily," Emma always asks. And Elena does. She tells them about her daughter, who loved helping people, the daughter whose name and spirit live on, and a little girl who can now see the world. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky orange and pink, Lily, Michael's Lily, said something that made Elena's heart full. "When I grow up, I want to be a doctor like you," Lily said. "I want to help people who everyone else gives up on." Elena smiled through her tears. "You'll be magnificent." Michael stood on his balcony that night, watching Elena and his daughters play in the garden below. They were chasing fireflies, the girls shrieking with joy every time they caught one and watched it glow in their hands. He thought about that cold night when his car took a wrong turn. He thought about the woman with the cardboard sign he almost ignored. He thought about how close he came to losing this, to accepting that his daughters would never see, never chase fireflies, never watch sunsets. Money hadn't saved his daughters. A hospital full of famous doctors hadn't saved them. A homeless woman with nothing but knowledge and courage had saved them. If this story shocked you, Michael whispered to himself, imagine what happens when we start seeing the heroes we've been walking past. The world was full of Elena Van Cess, people with gifts and wisdom, buried under circumstances and pain, waiting for someone to see them, waiting for someone to trust them, waiting for one more chance to do good. But this doesn't have to be the end of kindness and courage. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and let's celebrate the heroes the world overlooks. Share this story with someone who needs to hear that healing sometimes comes from unexpected places. And subscribe because there are more stories like this. Stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things when the world has given up hope. Drop a comment and tell me, would you have trusted Elena? Would you have stopped that night? Sometimes the greatest miracles come from the people we least expect. Sometimes the light returns through the hands of someone the world forgot. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps these powerful stories reach the people who need them most. Until next time, remember, heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear dirty blankets and carry broken hearts that still know how to heal. See you in the next story.